Hello, everyone. My name is Sean O'Brien, and I am the MDwise Provider Relations Representative for Region 8, which makes up the southeastern portion of the state. Today, I will be reviewing MDwise updates and reminders for spring 2020. Here's the agenda for today's presentation. First, I will cover billing and prior authorization updates and reminders. Next, I will review behavioral health reminders. Then I will touch on chiropractic and care management updates, followed by quality reminders. Lastly, I will review relevant contact and resource information. Let's start with billing and claim updates and reminders. First, let's review billing changes in 2020. Effective April 15, 2020, MDwise began requiring the billing taxonomy and corresponding zip code plus 4 digits on all claims. Claims submitted after April 15, 2020 with the required billing taxonomy or zip code plus 4 in the appropriate box will be rejected. Requiring this information on claims will help cut down on the amount of claims that may pend in our processing system. The next billing change requirement began on February 1st of this year, in which all non-routine maternity codes now require prior authorization. With this change, routine maternity codes do not require authorization, and you can access the list of these routine codes by selecting Forms from the For Provider drop-down box shown here. Then you would select the Prior Authorization Forms option as highlighted here, and then select the 2020 Maternity Code Exemption List option also shown here. Here is an image of the Maternity Code Exemption List, providing the codes that do not require a prior authorization. So let's move on to billing and claim reminders. MDwise would like to remind providers that they can bill coordination of benefit claims electronically, but you must remember to bill at line level as opposed to claim level. We also want to remind you of the IHCP Bulletin ET 201960, which states that private stock immunizations are no longer reimbursable when a similar BFC option is available. For inpatient facility providers, any inpatient readmission within 4 to 14 days of the first admission will deny. If you believe that the denial is incorrect, you must submit the first level readmission dispute form, along with any medical records supporting your dispute. This form serves a different purpose than the standard dispute form. It can be submitted via email or mail to the addresses provided here. To access the first level readmission dispute form, select Forms from the For Providers drop-down box, then select the Claims Forms option as highlighted here. Then select the Readmission Dispute Form option, also shown here. Here is an image of the Readmission Dispute Form. MDwise wants to make sure all providers are aware of our Claim Adjustment Request form, which can be used to request a claim be reprocessed for a specific reason or to include documentation that was not present on first submission. It can also be used to submit a corrected claim. The adjustment request form must be submitted to MDwise within 90 days of the most recent EOP and must be filled out completely while accompanied by appropriate documentation. Examples of supporting documentation could be a corrected claim, primary EOB, MSRP or cost invoice, or a sterilization consent form. Please note that the adjustment form cannot be submitted if the claim dispute process has already been initiated. Here is an image of the claim adjustment request form. The form can be sent via email or fax, and reception of a new EOP will act as a response to your submission. For any questions regarding the adjustment form, please call our provider customer service unit at the number listed here. For those new to working with MDwise, here is our claim disputes process. Providers should complete the claim dispute form found on the claims forms page on our website and submit it along with supporting documents to cdticket@mdwise.org. You can also mail the form to the address provided here if you prefer. You should receive an automated email back notifying you that your dispute has been received. Once a determination has been made, you will receive an email or letter depending on the method of submission you chose, informing you of the decision. There are two levels of claim disputes. The first is the informal dispute, which must be submitted within 60 days of the most recent EOP. The second level is the formal dispute, which must be submitted within 60 days of the date of the informal dispute decision. MDwise will review the formal dispute with a panel of persons not involved in the informal dispute review. The decision on the formal dispute is MDwise's final decision for in-network providers. Out-of-network providers may request an arbitration review of the decision. Please note, if your disputes are sent through a no-reply form of secure or encrypted messaging, you may not be able to receive the automated email responses to your submissions. In that case, please call the provider customer service unit. To access the standard dispute form, select Forms from the For Providers drop-down box, then select the Claims Forms option as highlighted here, and then select the Claims Dispute Form option also shown here. Let's move on to prior authorization updates and reminders. Beginning in 2020, our customer service team is assisting our prior authorization department in handling phone calls to alleviate phone tree congestion and to ensure providers are now receiving timely responses regarding prior authorization inquiries. The customer service team can help with non-clinical questions. For clinical inquiries, you will be transferred to a nurse. Make sure that when you call, you have the following pieces of information on hand listed here. MDwise is also working on a trial run or a pilot program of sorts with a few providers testing submission of prior authorization requests through our provider portal so we can offer another option for submission besides the current faxing process. MDwise will notify our providers if and when this becomes an official addition through an email blast, portal pop-up, our news and announcements page, and through other forms of communication. The MDwise Prior Authorization Department would like to remind providers of the timeframes for requesting retro-eligibility authorizations. Providers have 1 year to submit a request for a retro-eligibility review when the member had the retro coverage added at a later date. They have 60 days from the date of eligibility discovery to submit a PA request for retro review when they were previously unable to gain information from the member or the IHCP eligibility site. For a retro eligibility PA request, providers must submit proof of when the member became eligible. Proof of that eligibility verification was equitably pursued must also be provided. Examples would be IHCP site screenshots or print-offs, provider documentation notes, and provider call logs. Also, please remember to write retro eligibility in the notes section of the PA form. Lastly, our prior authorization department would like to remind providers how to complete the requesting and rendering portions of the prior authorization form. The requesting portion of the form requires the tax ID number and NPI of the group or individual requesting the service. The rendering portion of the form requires the tax ID number and NPI of the group providing the service. And as always, make sure all fields of the prior authorization form are completed. Now I'll review some behavioral health reminders. In regards to behavioral health services, MDwise will reimburse mid-level practitioners when services rendered are supervised by a physician or HSPP. Mid-level practitioners are listed here. These mid-level practitioners may not be separately enrolled as individual providers to receive direct reimbursement. Mid-level practitioners can be employed by an outpatient mental health facility, clinic, physician, or a health service provider in psychology enrolled with the IHCP. To receive reimbursement, the employer or supervising psychiatrist bills for the services. When submitting claims for reimbursement, mid-level providers must use the correct modifiers listed here. Additional information regarding these modifiers can be found in the Outpatient Mental Health Services section of the Mental Health and Addiction Services IHCP module. Please note that if a behavioral health claim is billed with an HO modifier alone, the claim may be denied. An HO modifier indicates a service that was performed by master's level practitioner and is for informational purposes only. The claim is submitted with an HO modifier in addition to an HE modifier, for example, when the claim is reimbursable. The behavioral health service was performed by a master's level practitioner. The claim should be submitted with the appropriate modifier. Here is a reminder of the Intensive Outpatient Program, or IOP, guidelines. It requires authorization, must be billed with the codes listed here. Only 1 unit is reimbursable per day and requires meetings of at least 3 consecutive hours per day, at least 3 days a week. In addition, the treatment program includes individual and family therapy, group therapy, skills training, medication training and support, peer recovery services, care coordination, and counseling with at least 120 minutes of therapeutic interventions per 3-hour session. MDwise would like to remind our behavioral health providers to utilize our behavioral health page, which can be found by going to mdwise.org and selecting Behavioral Health from the For Providers drop-down menu. This page provides a wealth of knowledge and information for behavioral health providers, including topics such as ABA and OTP program guides, quality and HEDIS measures, and clinical practice guidelines for conditions like autism, PTSD, schizophrenia, among others. Providers can also locate behavioral health contracting and provider enrollment documents from this page. Moving on to our chiropractic services update. MDwise is aware of the discrepancies we've had in the processing of chiropractic Healthy Indiana Plan claims in 2019 and 2020. In the very near future, we will reprocess all chiropractic claims adjudicated incorrectly, retroing back to January 1st, 2019. The reprocessing will be based on the chart shown here, as will all processing going forward. Specifically, we will be recognizing the separate accumulators for manipulations and therapy services for Healthy Indiana Plan Basic and Healthy Indiana Plan Plus members. MDwise expects the adjustment to our claims process systems configuration and the reprocessing of these claims to take roughly 60 days in total once the project has begun. We also have a small update from our care management team. MDwise has created a new program called Provider Healthcare Connections to help our members manage their health conditions. Now PMPs will have an MDwise care manager available to assist them in making sure members are managing their conditions appropriately. The care managers will be able to help members with coordinating care with specialists and understanding their conditions, as well as finding healthcare resources in their area. Care managers are divided up into territories within the state. We expect the Provider Healthcare Connection territory map to be available on our website within the upcoming weeks. Next, I will provide reminders related to quality and HEDIS metrics. First, let's review the quality report feature of the MDwise Provider Portal. PMP offices can access their quality reports by selecting the Quality Reports tab on the home page of the Provider Portal. To request access to quality reports, PMP offices will click the Quality Reports tab from the portal homepage, and then they will request access by selecting the link at the bottom of the page highlighted here. Please note that access will be granted within 2 to 3 days. To request quality reports for specific PMP locations, enter the location LPI and its affiliated alpha suffix if applicable. You can submit multiple alpha suffixes per LPI entry, but make sure to use commas with no spaces. If there's an issue with your submission, you will receive a notification that your request has been denied, along with a response detailing why. Please note that you can submit up to 6 LPIs per request. If more requests are necessary, you will need to submit and begin the process again. PMP quality reports consist of several tabs of information. These include progress reports, members in need of service based on HEDIS metric category, and ER high flyers. In addition, the quality reports will also provide member rosters broken down by our 2 programs, Hoosier HealthWise and Healthy Indiana Plan. MDwise would like to remind P&P and behavioral health providers of the following behavioral health HEDIS metrics. The follow-up after emergency department visit for alcohol or other drug abuse or dependence, also known as FUA, is the percentage of members that had an emergency department visit with a principal diagnosis of alcohol or other drug abuse or dependence and had a follow-up appointment with any practitioner within 7 days of discharge and within 30 days of discharge. The second metric, follow-up after emergency department visit for mental illness, or FUM, is the percentage of members with an emergency department visit with a principal diagnosis of mental illness or intentional self-harm and had follow-up with any practitioner within 7 days of discharge and within 30 days of discharge. The third metric, follow-up after hospitalization for mental illness, or FUH, is the percentage of discharges for members who were hospitalized for treatment of mental illness or intentional self-harm diagnosis who had a follow-up visit with a mental health practitioner within 7 days of discharge or within 30 days of discharge. If your office is in need of more quality and HEDIS information, please visit the quality section of our website by clicking the For Providers drop-down box. Beginning in the spring, MDwise will be delivering informational quality packets to our P&P offices. Lastly, I'll provide you with contact information and some additional resources. For any questions related to MDwise billing, prior authorization, behavioral health, or quality, please contact your respective provider relations territory representative found on the map shown here. Here is additional contact information for each rep. Please note that Nicole Young is the statewide behavioral health rep for CMHC, OTP, IMD, and residential providers. Also note that Michelle Phillips, who is the Region 3 representative, also handles home health and hospice issues. Here are some additional resources for more information. Please make note of our news and announcements page, which can also be found by clicking For Providers at MDwise.org. Providers should periodically check this page for occasional updates or direction. MDwise would like to thank you for taking time today to review our presentation. Please utilize our contact and resource information for any questions you may have.